Stop guessing how energy works. You clicked because you want the real method, not breathwork trends, not feel-good vibes. This book maps it like circuitry, how energy flows, how it's pulled, directed, and controlled like a physical force. These aren't ideas, they're instructions. And once you follow them, the shift is immediate. But here's the catch. You were never really taught what energy truly is. You were handed fragments, pretty words, new age slogans wrapped in pastels and polished smiles. Keep your vibes high, stay positive, cleanse your aura, and ground yourself. And for a while, you tried to do just that. You meditated, you journaled, you lit the candles, saged the corners, and whispered mantras into mirrors. You tried to stay soft, centered, and open. You tried to fix your energy, but there was always something missing. A silence beneath the sound, a pressure just under the surface, a subtle hum of dissonance. Because deep down, you suspected something none of those books or coaches or wellness influencers would ever say out loud. That energy isn't just something you balance. It's something you move, shape, command, and maybe, if you're willing to let go of what you've been told, it's something you can wield. You see, the first lie they told you was that energy is passive, that it just is like air, that your job is to be calm, be kind, be stable, to clear the fog and align your chakras so you don't make things worse, to not be a burden, to regulate your state. But what they never told you was that your energy acts, that your field is not just a mirror, it's a force, one that can impact a room before you speak a word, one that has been impacting others your entire life, whether or not you realized it. No one handed you that language. No one explained why you could walk into a space and feel the tension before anyone said anything. No one taught you why you felt exhausted around some people and energized around others. You just felt it. And because no one around you validated that experience, you learned to doubt it. But that doubt, that self-questioning, that wasn't your instinct, that was your conditioning. Because somewhere buried under layers of politeness and spiritual bypassing, you already knew this. You've always known. You knew it in the moments when you said something small, and someone's entire face changed. You saw it in the way your silence could settle an argument or stir discomfort. You felt it when you held someone's gaze just a second too long, and something electric shifted between you. That wasn't coincidence. That wasn't mood. That was energy. Moving, responding, interacting. They told you to protect your energy, but they never taught you to project it. They told you to cleanse, but never to charge. They told you to stay grounded, but never how to root in power and rise from it. And so, without tools, without words, you began to suppress not just your emotions, but your signals, your instincts, your knowing, your field. And the more you ignored it, the quieter it got, until one day you couldn't hear it at all. Just static, numbness, emotional fatigue. Not because you were broken, but because you were never taught how to stay intact in a world that benefits from you being energetically small. And make no mistake, there are systems, spiritual, societal, political, that benefit deeply from that, because people who understand energy are harder to manipulate. People who wield energy become impossible to control. You were never meant to ask, what am I feeling and why? You were meant to stay focused, polite, presentable. You were never meant to trust the chill in your spine, the heat in your hands, the pull in your gut. You were taught to override it, to call it overthinking, anxiety, hormones, trauma. But what if the thing you called anxiety was actually signal? What if that gut feeling wasn't fear, but field disruption? What if your sensitivity wasn't a flaw, but the exact sense that could guide you through this world more safely than any advice? They didn't teach you that. Not in school, not in therapy, not even in spiritual spaces. Not really, because if they did, you might have asked harder questions. You might have stopped listening to words and started listening to resonance. You might have stopped people-pleasing and started noticing who drains your energy without earning it. And that would have been a problem for them, because when you begin to reclaim your energetic presence, you become less dependent on approval, on rules, on scripts. You become harder to guilt. You start to see manipulation not as a moral failure, but as an ambient tool that everyone is using all the time. Let's pause there, because this is the second lie, that manipulation is evil. You've been taught to think of it as deceit, as violation, as something only narcissists and abusers do. But manipulation, at its root, simply means to shape, to direct, to influence with intention. And the truth is, everyone manipulates energy. The question is whether they do it consciously. Politicians do it. Watch how they pause, how they modulate their voice, how they hold eye contact. That's energetic shaping. Performers do it. Speakers, actors, religious leaders, even a masterful storyteller in your family. Someone who could hold a room in silence was manipulating the field, changing the temperature, opening a portal. That wasn't just charisma, that was current. So if everyone's doing it, why is it only bad when you do it? Why were you told to stay small, stay soft, stay still? Because power without awareness is dangerous, but power with awareness, that's revolutionary. And you were never meant to be revolutionary. You were meant to be digestible. That's why even spiritual communities taught you to transcend ego, to surrender, to stay in the light. They wrapped your power in language that made it seem suspect, shadowy, too much. And then they sold you back pieces of your energy in the form of courses, coaching, and compliance. But the ancient world didn't do that. In ancient Egypt, high priests used sound to shift energy fields. In Hermetic traditions, words were symbols of resonance, each carrying specific vibrational codes. In Chinese medicine, Qi is not metaphor. It's measurable through pulse, breath, and presence. In Kabbalah, letters and numbers form maps of energetic terrain. In Tantra, the body isn't sinful, it's sacred architecture. These systems weren't trying to be nice, they were trying to be true. And truth is often disruptive. It shakes, it burns, it clears, but most of all, it moves. And that's the part you were never supposed to reclaim: movement. Because a person who knows how to move energy is a person who cannot be spiritually silenced. You know those moments where someone walks in and the whole room shifts, the air gets heavy, people stop talking, or they can't stop looking. Maybe their body tenses, maybe it opens. That's not magic, that's field contact, and you've done it too. You just forgot. You forgot because they told you to be humble, to be mindful, to avoid taking up too much space. And so you apologized for your field. You squeezed your light into something palatable. You labeled your fire too much and called it healing to dim yourself. But healing is not about shrinking. It's about integrating, owning, reclaiming what was always yours. That fire, it isn't chaos, it's clarity. That rage, it's a boundary. That grief, it's transmutation. And when you stop suppressing your energy and start shaping it, you begin to feel like yourself again. Not the mask you wore to survive, not the soft, sweet version of you that kept the peace. The real you, the one who remembers, the one who knows. Because you do know, don't you? You've known since childhood that something wasn't right, that the rules didn't make sense, that adults were lying, that calm down really meant don't make me uncomfortable, that you're too sensitive really meant I don't know how to handle truth. And you believe them for a while, but belief is not truth, and truth doesn't need permission. So let's rewrite the script. You're not here to be nice, you're here to be clear. You're not here to be light, you're here to carry frequency. You're not here to play small, you're here to manipulate energy with integrity. Because if you don't, someone else will. The world is full of unconscious manipulation, advertising, politics, religion, emotional bait and switch tactics, covert control, and you, without training, absorb it all. You don't even notice it happening. You just feel off, anxious, drained, disconnected. But when you learn to sense the field, your own and others, you stop being passive. You start being powerful. So here's your first remembering. Energy doesn't lie. People do. And when you learn to trust the sensation in your body over the words in their mouth, you become immune to manipulation and masterful in it. Because now it's intentional. Now it's choice. Now it's sacred. And sacred doesn't mean soft. Sacred means alive, consecrated, aligned. So don't ask how to raise your vibration. Ask how to sharpen it. Don't ask how to be more liked. Ask how to be more precise. Don't ask how to protect your energy. Ask how to wield it. Because your field is not something you fix. It's something you forge. And it's time to remember how. The first thing you must remember is that energy isn't just an idea. It's alive. More than a buzz, more than a feeling. It's a force that responds, shapes, and moves through consciousness like a living current. When Israel Regardie redefined magic as the art of causing change to occur in consciousness and reality through will, he wasn't spinning fairy tales or whispering about tricks hidden in the shadows. He was pointing toward a profound truth, that magic is not something supernatural or mysterious, but a fundamental expression of how our inner will can ripple outward to transform the world we inhabit. This idea is unsettling for many because it demands a radical shift in how we see ourselves. We are not just passive beings caught in a stream of external events. We are active agents capable of bending the flow of reality itself. And the tool we wield is our energy field, our personal, invisible presence that moves and breathes around us, not just responding to the environment, but actively shaping it. This is the magic that was never taught in school, never properly explained in books, and often dismissed as superstition or wishful thinking. But if you've ever noticed how your presence changes a room without a single word, you've already experienced this. Think about the times when you walked into a gathering and felt the atmosphere shift, whether it became lighter, tenser, or charged with some unspoken anticipation. That's not coincidence or imagination. That's your energy field reaching out and touching the collective field of the people around you. This field is conscious in its own way, plastic and responsive to your intention, mood, and focus. It's a dynamic dialogue, a feedback loop where your internal state resonates with the space and the people in it, creating subtle shifts that others feel even if they can't quite explain why. You've done this before, even if you didn't realize it. Maybe it was the time you stood silently beside someone and their breathing slowed, their shoulders relaxed, as if your presence offered a balm without a single word spoken. Or the moment your steady calmness during chaos kept a group from unraveling. These are not accidents or tricks. They are demonstrations of energetic magic at work. Your will translated into real change simply through the presence you held. This responsiveness of energy fields means that magic is not about waving wands or chanting spells. It's about mastering the art of presence, knowing that your consciousness is intertwined with the fabric of reality. Every thought, every emotion, every breath sends ripples into this field, causing shifts that are sometimes subtle, sometimes seismic. This is why people who learn to cultivate this awareness can influence situations with remarkable precision, shaping moods, guiding decisions, creating outcomes that seem almost miraculous. But to reach this understanding, you must first unlearn the idea that magic is something mysterious or reserved for a special few. It's not about supernatural power or external forces. It's about your own internal power, the focused direction of your will, expressed through the energy that flows from your being. This means that magic is democratic. It is available to everyone who is willing to recognize and take responsibility for the impact their presence has. In this light, manipulation loses its negative connotations and becomes an essential skill. Not manipulation as deceit, but as intentional direction, a conscious steering of energy to cause a change in the world around you. When you walk into a room and influence the mood, you are practicing magic. When you hold space for others in your calmness or your strength, you are practicing magic. When your words or silence create a pause that shifts the flow of conversation or emotion, you are practicing magic. You may have been taught to shy away from this power, to downplay your influence so as not to rock the boat or make others uncomfortable. But what if embracing this skill could bring greater harmony, clarity, and truth to your relationships and your life? What if the true danger lies not in wielding your energy with intention, but in denying your role as a participant in the energetic dance of life? Energy fields are not static. They are alive, fluid, and deeply connected to consciousness. This means that your inner state is never isolated. It reaches out and touches the outer world in ways you might not see, but always feel. When you feel tension in your body around certain people or situations, that's your field responding to theirs. When you find yourself inexplicably drained or energized by an environment, it's your energy merging, clashing, or harmonizing with the larger currents around you. This interplay reveals that magic is fundamentally relational. It is not a solo act, but a dynamic exchange. You send signals through your energy, and the world sends signals back. This is why awareness of your field and the fields around you becomes a kind of second sight, a way to navigate reality with greater sensitivity and precision. It is also why learning to shape your energy with will, intention, and clarity is a practice that empowers you to step fully into your role as a conscious creator of your experience. Imagine the subtle but profound impact when you realize that your energy is not a passive echo of the environment, but a proactive force that can reshape it. You don't have to wait for permission or external validation. You can cultivate the skill of directing your presence like a musician shapes sound or an artist moves paint on a canvas. This is the essence of magic, as Israel Regardie described it: an art, a practice, a way of living that moves beyond superstition into a lived reality of conscious influence. What makes this magic accessible but also challenging is its intimate connection with self-awareness. You cannot cause change in your field without first knowing the currents that run within. This requires deep honesty and courage, the willingness to face your shadows, your fears, your unacknowledged power. It's a process of reclaiming what was never truly lost, but was hidden beneath layers of conditioning, shame, and misunderstanding. When you start to practice this kind of magic, you begin to see the patterns that govern your interactions. You notice how your emotions ripple through your field and affect others. You see how your intentions can either scatter or focus that energy. You learn to hold space for transformation without forcing it, to wield your presence without aggression or retreat. This balance is the heart of energetic mastery, a dance between yielding and commanding, between listening and speaking. And in this dance, you find something deeper than control or domination. You find connection, flow, and resonance. You discover that magic is not about bending others to your will, but aligning your will with the larger currents of life so that your actions create harmony instead of resistance. This is why magic has always been both an art and a responsibility, a way to act with power that honors the interconnectedness of all things. So when you recognize that you've already been practicing this magic, even in the smallest moments, you step into a new relationship with your own energy. You move from being a passive receiver of influence to an active participant in the shaping of your reality. This shift changes everything because it awakens a sense of sovereignty that is not based on external power, but on the mastery of your own field. In practical terms, this means learning to listen deeply to the subtle signals within your body, the shifts in the air around you, the emotions that arise without clear cause. It means cultivating presence as a tool, not just a state. It means practicing intention, not just in words, but in posture, breath, gaze, and silence. Every gesture becomes a brushstroke in the energetic painting of the moment. This is the magic that Israel Regardie spoke of, not a fantasy, but a lived truth, accessible to anyone willing to pay attention. It is a call to reclaim your role as a conscious agent of change, to trust your sensitivity as a portal, and to wield your energy with the clarity and intention it deserves. You don't have to be a sorcerer or a mystic to practice this magic. You only need to remember what you've already felt, what you've already done, even if you dismissed it as coincidence or luck. The art of causing change in consciousness and reality through will is within your reach, waiting for you to claim it. So pause for a moment and reflect. How have you shifted the mood of a room without speaking? When has your presence altered the course of a conversation or calmed a storm of emotions? These are your first steps into the deeper practice of energetic magic. The more you notice, the more you can learn to shape, direct, and embody the energy you are. This is not about forcing change or controlling others. It's about moving with the current of consciousness and adding your voice, your vibration, your presence to the flow. It's about recognizing that your energy is alive, conscious, and responsive. And that magic is the skillful art of channeling that energy to create real transformation in the world. The invitation is simple but profound: to stop doubting the subtle power you already carry and start cultivating it with intention, respect, and clarity. Because the true magic is not out there in some distant realm. It's in the way you move, breathe, and will the moment you're toe in. And as you begin to practice this art, you'll find that your life starts to resonate with a deeper sense of meaning and agency. The noise of doubt and disconnection fades, replaced by the steady hum of your own energy field coming alive, shaping reality with every breath. This is the magic Israel Regardie spoke of, the art of change, the dance of consciousness and will, the power that is yours to awaken and wield. But where do you begin? Where does that power take shape visibly, tangibly? It starts with a map. The tree of life is one of those ancient symbols that often feels distant, cryptic, or wrapped in layers of mystery. But what if I told you that this isn't just some mystical diagram hidden in dusty tomes meant only for scholars or secret societies? The tree of life is one of those ancient symbols that often feels distant, cryptic, or wrapped in layers of mystery. But what if I told you that this isn't just some mystical diagram hidden in dusty tomes, meant only for scholars or secret societies? What if the tree of life is actually a living, breathing map, an energetic blueprint that flows through you right now, beneath the surface of your everyday awareness? This map doesn't just sit still on parchment, it pulses with life, tracing the pathways of energy that shape your very experience of reality. It connects the invisible wiring inside you to the vast web of energy that makes up the world around you. Imagine for a moment that the tree of life is less a static symbol and more like the neural network in your brain, or the electrical grid powering a city. Each point on this tree, called a sephira, is like a node or an energy center. These aren't vague, abstract ideas, but tangible, living parts of your own inner landscape. Each sephira corresponds to specific qualities of consciousness, emotional states, and energetic frequencies that influence how you feel, think, and interact with the world. You might picture these Sephiroth as bright hubs in a complex network, each one a focal point where energy flows in, is processed, and then sent onward. The way energy moves through these nodes shapes the balance and harmony of your entire field. When one node is out of sync, the flow becomes disrupted and you feel it as tension, confusion, or emotional heaviness. When they're aligned and open, energy moves freely and you experience a sense of flow, clarity, and connection. To understand this better, let's translate the tree of life into modern terms that resonate with our daily experience. Think of it like your nervous system, the body's vast communication network sending signals between your brain and every cell. When your nervous system is healthy and responsive, you move with ease, sense your environment clearly, and respond with appropriate feeling and action. When it's out of balance, when nerves are stressed or blocked, you might feel pain, numbness, or disconnection. In the same way, the tree of life is like the spiritual and energetic nervous system of your being, guiding how your energy flows through your mind, heart, and soul. Or picture the tree of life as spiritual circuitry, like the wiring inside a complex machine or computer. Each sephira is a circuit board, a node where current comes together and is redirected. This circuitry is sensitive and adaptable, constantly shifting according to your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. When your internal circuitry is well maintained, energy can travel quickly and efficiently, powering your creativity, intuition, and presence. When circuits get overloaded or shorted out by trauma, fear, or repression, energy gets stuck, leading to feelings of frustration or disempowerment. The beauty of this framework is that it invites you to move beyond seeing yourself as a passive collection of parts and encourages you to engage with your energy in a new way. As a dynamic system, you can observe, care for, and even consciously influence instead of feeling like a victim of your mood swings, mental blocks, or emotional upheavals. You can begin to see these as signs that certain nodes in your tree of life need attention, healing, or realignment. This map is not a rigid structure, but a fluid and living design. The Sephiroth are connected by paths, channels where energy moves, shifts, and transforms. These channels allow the energy in one node to influence others, creating a web of cause and effect. Understanding this interconnectedness is crucial. For example, a blockage or overactivity in one sephira can ripple through the whole system, affecting areas you might never have suspected. It's like how a kink in a garden hose can reduce water flow to the entire plant, or how a glitch in one part of a circuit can shut down an entire device. By learning the language of the tree of life, you gain tools for recognizing how your own energy flows and where it may be stuck or blocked. This awareness opens the door to conscious healing and growth. You might start by noticing how certain emotions or thoughts cluster around specific Sephiroth. For instance, feelings of self-worth or confidence relate to the sephira called Yesod, often translated as foundation or stability. When Yesod is healthy, you feel grounded and secure. When it's weak or blocked, insecurity or self-doubt can dominate. This framework also shows you that energy work isn't about chasing vague spiritual ideals, but about tuning into real patterns within your own energetic body. It connects the mystical to the practical, helping you see that spiritual health depends on the balance and flow of energy through these nodes. Your emotional experiences, your creativity, your intuition, even your physical vitality, all are reflections of how well your tree of life functions as an integrated system. Another way to grasp this is by reflecting on how your body and mind respond to stress or relaxation. Stress might tighten your chest, cloud your mind, or make your stomach churn. These are signs that energy is contracting or stuck in certain parts of your system. Relaxation, by contrast, feels like energy opening, expanding, and flowing with ease. This shift in energy states corresponds directly to changes in your tree of life as the nodes move from constriction toward flow. When you begin to perceive your energy in this way, your relationship with yourself transforms. You become less reactive to discomfort or emotional turmoil and more curious and compassionate. Instead of pushing away difficult feelings or labeling them as bad, you see them as signals from your energetic system, clues pointing you toward what needs care or release. This shift from judgment to curiosity is a crucial step in healing and energetic mastery. The Tree of Life also offers a profound sense of connection to yourself, to others, and to the larger cosmos, because each sephira not only exists within you, but also resonates with universal archetypes and energies. You're reminded that your inner world is a microcosm of a larger energetic grid. This grid connects all life, all consciousness, like an enormous network of flowing energy, all nodes influencing and supporting each other. Understanding this interconnectedness encourages you to see your energy work as part of a larger dance, not just a personal project. When you heal and align your tree of life, you contribute to the harmony of the whole energetic grid. You influence not only your reality, but also the world around you in subtle, powerful ways. This realization can feel both humbling and empowering. Humbling because it reminds you that you are part of something vast and intricate beyond full human comprehension. Empowering because it confirms that your inner work ripples outward, making a real difference. The Tree of Life is also a guide for navigating transformation. Just as energy flows through the Sephiroth in particular sequences and patterns, your own journey unfolds in phases, moments of build-up, release, integration, and renewal. By recognizing where you are on this map, you can better understand the challenges and gifts of each stage. This helps you move through transitions with more grace and intention, rather than feeling lost or overwhelmed. Practicing with the Tree of Life invites a gentle but profound discipline, the willingness to pause and feel your energy, to listen to its movements and to respond with care. This might involve meditation, breath work, or simple moments of mindful awareness. Over time, you develop a sensitivity to your energetic currents, learning to spot where energy feels tight, stuck, or weak, and where it flows freely and joyfully. This awareness naturally leads to the cultivation of energetic hygiene practices that protect and nourish your field. Just as you wouldn't neglect your physical body's health, you learn to care for for your energetic body using tools drawn from ancient wisdom and modern insight alike. Most importantly, the Tree of Life helps you see that energy is not some abstract or remote concept. It's your living reality. It's in the way you think, feel, breathe, and move through the Prav world. It's the silent language beneath every interaction and experience. And by learning its patterns, you gain a new sense of agency, a way to steer your life with intention, clarity, and compassion. So as you engage with this map, remember that it is a living guide, unique to you, but also connected to the universal flow. Each sephira is a gateway to understanding yourself more deeply and shaping your energy with conscious will. The Tree of Life is not a puzzle to solve, but a path to walk, a grid of radiant energy waiting for your presence to animate it. Step by step, node by node, you awaken to your own energetic landscape and learn the art of moving through life, not as a passive traveler, but as an active, conscious participant in the grand network of reality. But awakening this energy isn't always gentle or easy. You've likely felt it before, the raw intensity of energy that's been stirred, summoned, or cracked open, but not properly held. Maybe it came after a breakthrough, a spiritual high, a breathwork session that left your chest buzzing for hours. Maybe it came in a wave of euphoria or rage, or knowing so deep it scared you. Or maybe it didn't feel like energy at all. Maybe it just felt like your life falling apart right after things started getting better. No one warned you that healing could destabilize you, that awakening could unravel you, that moving energy without structure, without understanding, without preparation can be dangerous. But it can. And that's what most people don't want to talk about when they glamorize manifestation, when they post about energy alignment, when they throw around words like quantum shift without ever naming the responsibility that comes with power. Because energy in its purest form doesn't care about your comfort. It responds to will. It amplifies intention. It carries the seed of creation and destruction, both. So when you stir it, without knowing how to contain it, how to integrate it, how to direct it can tear through your life like a storm. Regardie knew this. That's why he didn't write about magic as entertainment. He wrote about it as initiation into a deeper awareness of what you are and what you're touching. He called unbalanced magical work one of the greatest dangers of occultism, not because magic is evil, but because energy, when manipulated without wisdom, doesn't just elevate, it destabilizes. You may have already experienced this in small ways. A moment when you opened up too fast, trusted someone too deeply, too quickly, only to feel violated. A retreat where something powerful happened, but no one helped you process it. The sense of being ungrounded after intense spiritual work, where the world feels thin and every emotion feels magnified. This isn't just emotional overwhelm, this is energetic fragmentation. Because here's what happens when energy is moved without preparation. The psyche splits. Your body might buzz, but your mind scrambles to catch up. You feel bigger but less coherent, more sensitive but less safe. You pick up more, feel more, see more, but you don't yet know what to do with what's coming in. The signal increases, but your container doesn't. That gap, that space between activation and integration, is where chaos enters. It's the space where obsession breeds, where someone gets addicted to the feeling of being high on spirit, but avoids the shadow work. It's where people chase experiences, more rituals, more synchronicities, more downloads, because it feels like movement, but it's actually a spiral. It's where people start to lose discernment, mistake every sensation for a sign, and hand their power over to symbols and spirits because it feels easier than holding their own center. Regardie called this psychic inflation, a state where someone's energetic expansion outpaces their psychological development, and in that imbalance, the ego grows, but the soul fractures. The person feels important, chosen, powerful, but they become unmoored, susceptible to manipulation, prone to grandiosity or despair. They don't know who they are anymore without the feeling of activation, and so they seek energy, not as a tool, but as a drug. You've probably seen it. The person who seems lit up but unwell. The healer who gives great sessions but lives in chaos. The seeker who's constantly shifting beliefs, always chasing the next system, the next teacher, the next breakthrough, never able to rest. This isn't what spiritual maturity looks like. This is what happens when energy moves without integration. But let's bring it closer to home. Have you ever set a powerful intention, felt the universe respond, and then watched your life erupt? The job falls through, the relationship collapses, the old identity shatters, not because you did something wrong, but because energy obeyed. Your field shifted, and everything not in resonance with that shift began fall away. That's not punishment, that's purification. But if you weren't told that would happen, it can to feel terrifying, like the ground being pulled out from beneath you, like being betrayed by the very thing you thought would save you. You asked to step into your power, but no one told you that sometimes power requires dismantling what you built when you were small. This is the danger of energy work. Without context, without maps, without grounding, I think you're calling in a new life, but you're actually summoning the death of the old one. And if your nervous system isn't prepared for that shift, it will feel like trauma, not because energy is bad, but because you weren't taught how to hold it. We are not taught to work with energy the way ancient systems once did. We're taught fragments, a meditation here, a crystal there, a visualization on TikTok, and we're told it's enough. But it's not, because real energy work isn't about tricks, it's about transformation, and transformation is not safe, it is sacred. That's why the ancients prepared their initiates, not just with rituals, but with discipline, ethics, study, grounding, shadow work, because they understood that power without preparation can collapse the psyche. And maybe you've felt that collapse in subtle ways. The way your relationships began to fall apart as you got more intuitive. The loneliness that came when you could feel other people's energy so strongly you didn't know who you were anymore. The fear that maybe your gifts would make you lose touch with reality or with people you love. The question no one wants to say out loud. What if I open a door I can't close? This is the part of the journey no one glamorizes. The part where energy doesn't feel like light, it feels like fire. It burns through illusion. It scorches false identities. It melts old desires. And if you're not ready to let those go, you'll feel like you're being punished. But you're not. You're being refined. Still, the danger is real, because the same energy that heals can also fracture. The same force that awakens can also overwhelm. Not because energy is malicious, but because it's precise. It moves where it's directed. It opens what it touches. And if what it touches is unhealed, unseen, unintegrated, that's what will surface. So what do? You learn to move slowly. You build your nervous system to match your vision. You stop chasing sensation and start cultivating presence. You let go of the need to feel powerful and learn how to become stable, because true energy mastery isn't about control. It's about coherence, about being able to hold more energy without being thrown by it, about becoming a field so rooted, so attuned that nothing passes through you without being metabolized. That's what Regardie meant when he warned about unprepared minds. He didn't mean weak minds. He meant untrained ones, minds that haven't learned to discern signal from noise, hearts that haven't learned to sit in discomfort without reacting, bodies that haven't been taught how to move energy instead of being moved by it. You're not wrong for wanting power. You're not foolish for wanting to touch the deeper layers of your being. But if you've already felt the chaos of ungrounded energy, the sleepless nights, the emotional swings, the psychic sensitivity that makes crowds unbearable, the sense that you're always picking up too much, you're not broken, you're just open. And openness without structure is vulnerability. But openness with structure, that's magic. You don't need to fear your sensitivity. You need to frame it. You don't need to dull your gifts. You need to deepen your foundation. You don't need to stop the flow. You need to learn how to steer it. And that's what this path is about. Because energy work isn't dangerous in itself. It's dangerous when taught without depth, when practiced without ethics, when treated like a shortcut instead of a skill set. So if you felt the danger, it means you've already touched the edge of real power. Now the work begins. Not to suppress it, not to chase it, but to build the container that can hold it. Because the goal isn't just to move energy, it's to move it without losing yourself. This means recognizing that every thought you've ever had leaves a mark, not only in your mind, but in the very field surrounding you. What if your internal dialogue isn't just private chatter, but a subtle command being broadcast into reality itself? It sounds lofty, even mystical, but this is one of the core truths in the work of Israel Regardie and many of the ancient esoteric traditions. Your thoughts, when fused with emotion, are not passive. They are active forces, energetic commands sent into the fabric of the universe. And whether or not you realize it, you've already seen this in action. Think of a time you were deeply focused on someone, maybe a loved one, a friend you hadn't seen in years, and out of nowhere they called, or you ran into them, or they suddenly showed up in your dream. That wasn't random, that wasn't coincidence, that was energetic resonance, an invisible thread pulled tight across time and space. That's the unseen power of thought, shaped by emotion. It's not just intention, it's entanglement. Regardie taught that real magic wasn't a matter of casting spells with candles or incantations. It was about learning to focus consciousness with such precision and emotional clarity that it shifted the very currents of your energetic field. Visualization wasn't just imagination, it was ritual, a deliberate shaping of your internal world to influence the external. And that shaping, he emphasized, only works when the thought is infused with emotional charge. Thought alone can be scattered, weak, abstract, but thought married to emotion, that becomes a current. That's why your strongest manifestations haven't come from forced affirmations. They've come from the moments you felt something with your whole being. The wish you whispered while crying, the dream you nurtured with longing, the decision you made in the pit of your gut. Those weren't just ideas, they were energetic blueprints. They had weight, velocity, direction. This is also why unconscious thoughts can wreak havoc, because they too are charged, often with fear, with scarcity, with unresolved pain. And even if you don't intend to create those outcomes, your field responds to the dominant frequencies you hold. If you say, "I trust the universe," but your body tightens in doubt, the energy responds to the tightness, not the words. Energy doesn't listen to performance, it listens to coherence. So when we talk about shaping energy with thought, what we're really talking about is cultivating coherence between what you think, what you feel, and what you want. That's the true act of magic, not pretending to be aligned, but actually aligning the mind, the heart, and the field so precisely that the universe can't help but respond. This isn't always easy. In fact, it can be deeply confronting because it means your reality isn't just happening to you, it's happening through you. It means the chaos, the delay, the static in your life might not be punishment or failure, but a reflection of internal noise, the places where your thoughts are split, where your feelings are unprocessed, where your vision is blurred by the weight of what hasn't been healed. But here's the empowerment in that truth. If your thoughts can distort energy, they can also refine it. If they can create confusion, they can also create clarity. You're not at the mercy of your mind. You're the conductor of it. And every time you choose a thought with intention, every time you anchor that thought with feeling, you're reinforcing a signal. You're shaping the field. Let's go deeper. In magical systems like those Regardie studied, the ritual wasn't just for show. It was a symbolic act designed to train the mind to hold a single focus while engaging the body, the voice, and the will. Every gesture, every symbol, every chant served one purpose: to imprint a desired frequency into the energetic matrix. The magician wasn't summoning power. They were becoming the power by focusing their thought and infusing it with emotion. They were tuning their field into a transmitter. And this isn't as far from your life as it sounds. You do this every day. You visualize conversations before they happen. You anticipate outcomes and adjust your mood accordingly. You walk into rooms and feel the tone before anyone speaks. You've already been working magic just without realizing the structure. Imagine what becomes possible when you do it consciously. When you learn to hold a vision, not just for a moment, but with unwavering consistency. When you learn to tune your emotional state to match what you're calling in. When you learn to let go of thoughts that contradict your deeper desires, not by suppressing them, but by recognizing them as unhelpful noise. Regardie's work emphasized that this isn't about denying emotion or controlling every thought. It's about becoming conscious of the energetic imprint your inner life creates. It's about cultivating clarity, emotional hygiene, mental discipline, not so you can become robotic, but so you can become free. Free to choose thoughts that empower rather than sabotage. Free to feel emotions fully without letting them derail your focus. Free to use your imagination as a creative force, not just a source of distraction. And this is where many people get stuck. They try to manifest from the mind alone. They create vision boards. They repeat mantras, but their hearts are still anchored in fear. Their bodies are still carrying trauma, And so the energy doesn't move, or it moves in erratic ways because the signal is mixed. You've probably felt this when you try to stay positive, but something still feels off. When you say what you want, but deep down you don't believe it. That misalignment is more than psychological, it's energetic. And it's why magic isn't just about visualization. It's about integration. To truly shape energy with thought, you need to bring your entire system into agreement. That means processing old grief so it doesn't distort your desires. That means calming your nervous system so your energy isn't scattered. That means slowing down enough to hear the thoughts beneath your thoughts, the ones that are actually running the show. Because often, the most powerful work you can do isn't about creating a new thought. It's about clearing the ones that have been looping unconsciously, the inherited beliefs, the inner critic, the shame that whispers, "You're not worthy." When those threads are active in your field, they shape your reality more than any mantra ever could. Regardie didn't just teach magical technique, he taught purification, not in a religious sense, but in a psychological one. Clearing the clutter, strengthening the will, training the mind to focus, the emotions to align, and the energy to flow. That's what turns thought into magic. Not the words themselves, but the integrity behind them. And you've likely already tasted this, even in small ways. A moment of clarity that shifted everything. A sudden insight that changed your path. A surge of emotion that fueled decision and set off a chain reaction of synchronicities. That wasn't random, that was you aligned. That was your field, shaped by thought and emotion into a directive the universe couldn't ignore. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling in thought, pause, ask, is this thought shaping the energy I want to live in? Is this feeling reinforcing the reality I want to call in? If not, breathe, shift. Not because you need to be perfect, but because you deserve to be intentional. Your mind is not just a filter, it's an instrument. Your emotions are not liabilities, they're amplifiers. And when you learn to play them with care, with clarity, with coherence, you don't just observe reality, you co-create it. That's not wishful thinking, that's energetic law. That's the alchemy Regardie pointed to. And that's the power you're stepping into. Not just to think, but to shape. Because the world isn't just responding to what you do, it's responding to who you are, what you believe, and what you feel in the spaces where no one's watching. That's where real magic begins. A place beyond superstition and ritual. Because the ancient practices you've heard about weren't just about religion or pleasing gods. They were intentional, precise methods, psychotechnology, crafted to shift energy, transform consciousness, and alter reality itself. For many today, rituals can seem like mere theater, lighting candles, drawing circles, chanting in languages long forgotten. Yet, behind what looks like drama is a deep, coded structure, an energetic blueprint. These rituals aren't just symbolic actions. They are technologies created to reprogram the subtle human energy field. Their purpose is to alter your state of being, to align intention with a specific frequency, and to do so consistently and reliably. Israel Regardie, the great scholar of Western occult tradition, understood this with clarity. He didn't preserve these rituals out of nostalgia or blind faith. He studied them because they worked, because every symbol, every shape, every step in the ritual sequence functioned as a programming language for the invisible realm. Sacred geometry, for example, is not merely beautiful design. It's math resonating with the very architecture of the cosmos. Drawing a pentagram or stepping inside a circle wasn't an artistic flourish. It was entering an energetic field, tuning into a specific frequency of intention. Pause for a moment and consider what that means in your daily life. You move through the world constantly shifting your energy, contracting when anxious, expanding when joyful. Music can lift or lower your mood. The way you carry yourself can make you feel powerful or invisible. This isn't magic in some fantastical sense. It's the interplay of neurology, emotion, and energy happening right now. Rituals operate on this same principle. They manipulate sensory inputs, sight, sound, movement, so your body and energy field move into coherence. Ritual is embodied intention made visible. Reframing ritual in this way changes everything. Ritual isn't about religion, it's about relationship. It's a method of communicating with energy, using symbols and movements as instructions to your own energetic field about what to become. The problem is, many of us have either been taught to perform rituals blindly or, worse, dismiss them as mere superstition or spiritual theater. But without structure, intention drifts away. Without form, energy scatters. Rituals give energy a vessel to take shape. Consider invocations. They're often seen as prayers to gods or spirits. But what if they are simply vibrational activations? When a practitioner chants a sacred name or phrase, especially in ancient tongues, those words carry tone, rhythm, and sonic architecture that entrain the nervous system. They don't call something outside of you. They awaken something within. The gods of ritual are not external beings, but archetypes, aspects of consciousness, residing inside your psyche and energy field. Invoking a deity is less about worship and more about stepping into an aligned frequency. This is the core of psychotechnology, using mental and physical tools to alter consciousness and energy. And like any effective technology, it evolves. Your rituals don't need to perfectly replicate ancient ceremonies. What truly matters is their structure and intent. Geometry to anchor the field, sound to activate the body, movement to ground the energy, visualization to shape the outcome. Each element is purposeful and precise. To someone unfamiliar, ritual may still look strange, just as a particle accelerator might seem odd to a layperson. But form is secondary to function. The function of ritual is transformation. So, what does this mean for you in a world increasingly chaotic and disconnected from the sacred? It means reclaiming ritual, not as performance, but as practice. You don't have to belong to an esoteric order or temple. You can use ritual as energetic engineering. Light a candle not to summon spirits, but to focus your attention. Draw a symbol, not for mysticism, but to create order in your environment. Speak words, not because they're ancient, but because they activate power in your breath. When ritual becomes personal, it becomes potent. And here's the liberating part. You have permission to rewrite the script. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Invent your own forms, always honoring the essential principles of intention, coherence, and embodiment. Sacred geometry, for example, is sacred not because it's magical, but because it mirrors the fundamental patterns of nature. Spirals, circles, the golden ratio. These are not mystical secrets, but mathematical truths. When you work with these shapes, you tap into a language the universe already understands. You align yourself with cosmic order. Movements in ritual aren't random either. They regulate your nervous system and direct energy flow. Just like yoga poses aren't just stretching exercises, ritual gestures are somatic codes. They teach your body to hold certain frequencies, helping you remain grounded even as your awareness expands. Even silence plays a vital role. The pause before a chant, the breath between steps. These moments aren't empty, but potent. In stillness, your field responds, your awareness sharpens, and your intention crystallizes. True magic happens not in frantic action, but in focused presence. Yes, this might sound technical. That's because it is. Magic isn't blind belief in unseen forces. It's mastering how to work with your own consciousness and energy field. Ritual is your operating system. Learning its language is like writing code that shifts your reality in real, measurable ways. Look at the rituals you already practice, often unconsciously. Lighting a candle at dinner, taking a deep breath before a meeting, the way you arrange your workspace each morning. These small acts are anchors. They set energetic tone. When done consciously, they create transformation. Regardie gave us a way to make the invisible visible, to take chaotic thoughts and emotions and give them form. Ritual reveals that transformation is a process, not a lightning strike. It's a choreography between will and energy, a dance between the conscious mind and infinite potential. You don't need robes, chants, or temples. You need only awareness and willingness to engage your unfolding process. Erase the false divide between the sacred and the practical. Ritual is neither performance nor superstition. It's a tool, a map, a mirror. Use it to restore coherence. Use it to realign fragmented parts. Use it to speak, not to some distant God, but to the power within you. And most importantly, remember, you don't need permission to do this. You've already been initiated by life itself. Your breath is your incense, your heartbeat, your drum, your presence, the altar. Start where you are. Stand still. Light a candle. Speak your truth aloud, not for show, but for shift. Because the rituals were never about religion. They were about remembering, about returning, about rewriting the code of your own becoming. Rituals also serve as a bridge between the conscious and unconscious mind. They allow you to access parts of yourself, usually hidden or repressed. When you engage in ritual, you enter a liminal space, an in-between zone where the usual rules dissolve. In this space, transformation is possible because your mind is no longer anchored in everyday logic. Symbols become keys, gestures become portals, and your intention flows unfiltered. This liminal space is where new patterns can emerge, where healing and growth accelerate. The most effective rituals harness this liminality intentionally. They are designed to create safe containers for change, protecting the practitioner while opening channels of possibility. In this way, ritual is deeply psychological. It's about aligning your inner landscape with your outer reality. That's why it's so important to approach rituals with respect and mindfulness. Careless repetition or hollow mimicry can backfire, scattering energy or reinforcing old patterns. But done with attention, ritual becomes a compass, pointing you toward your highest potential. Moreover, ritual is profoundly communal. Even when practiced alone, ritual connects you to a lineage, a thread weaving through time, linking countless seekers, healers, and magicians who shaped and refined these methods. This connection to tradition lends strength and depth to the practice. It reminds you that you are not isolated, but part of an ongoing story. Yet, this lineage is alive and evolving. You are not just inheritor, but innovator. Your ritual practice is your personal contribution to this vast tapestry. Finally, ritual invites you into a sacred contract with reality itself. It's a commitment to engage your life intentionally, to recognize that every act, no matter how small, carries energy and meaning. By embodying ritual, you claim your role as co-creator of your experience. You acknowledge that you are not merely a passive observer, but an active participant in the unfolding mystery. This realization is empowering and humbling. It reminds you that magic isn't about bending the universe to your will through force or fantasy. It's about cultivating harmony with the laws that govern energy and consciousness. It's about becoming fluent in the language of change, so you can navigate life's challenges with grace and purpose. So, reclaim the rituals that resonate. Let them be your anchors in chaos, your tools for transformation, your pathways to presence. Because in the end, the rituals were never about religion. They were about remembering, about returning, about rewriting the code of your own becoming. To rewrite that code and truly shape your energy, you must start with the most intimate instrument you have, your own body. Not just a vessel or container, but the living tool through which the unseen currents around you are felt, shaped, and directed. Often, people think of magic or energetic work as abstract, mental, or symbolic. They imagine complicated rituals, strange tools, or exotic locations. But the most profound and effective magical operation you can perform begins with the simplest and most accessible instrument, your own physical form. The body is a living interface between the internal and external worlds, a dynamic energy conductor, and a sensory hub. When you learn to use your body intentionally through posture, breath, and movement, you can control your personal energy field with precision and power. Breath is one of the most fundamental yet overlooked tools for energy manipulation. It's the silent pulse of life itself, the rhythm that connects body and mind, spirit and form. You may not always notice it, but the quality of your breath directly shapes your nervous system's state and, consequently, your energetic field. A shallow, erratic breath signals stress and fragmentation. A slow, deep breath fosters calm, coherence, and centeredness. When you begin to bring awareness to your breathing, deliberately lengthening your inhales and exhales, you begin to send subtle but powerful signals to your nervous system. These signals ripple outward, reorganizing your energy field into a more balanced, resilient state. This is not just metaphor or metaphorical language. Scientific studies on breathwork have shown how controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reduces anxiety, and improves emotional regulation. From a magical perspective, breath becomes a bridge between the material and the energetic, a lever you can use to shift your state instantly. Alongside breath, posture serves as a physical code that your nervous system and your energy field read and respond to. Stand or sit with your spine erect, shoulders relaxed but open, head held high but not tense. This posture communicates confidence, openness, and safety, not only to those around you, but also to your own internal nervous system. When you adopt a posture of expansion and alignment, your energy field naturally broadens and stabilizes. Conversely, when you slump, hunch over, or close off your chest and shoulders, your energy contracts and fragments. The physical shape of your body is, in a very real sense, the shape of your energetic presence. Posture is a language without words, a constant conversation between body and energy. By mastering your form, you master your field. Movement is the third pillar of this embodied practice. Even the smallest gesture can carry significant energetic weight. A slow, intentional raising of the arms, a gentle pressing of the arms, palms together, or the simple act of opening the hands and fingers wide are all forms of non-verbal communication with your energy. Movement draws energy into motion and channels it along specific pathways. In many magical traditions, ritual gestures known as mudras or signs are employed precisely because the body's form affects the energy flow. Movement, breath, and posture form a triad of tools that work in harmony to influence your energetic state and the fields around you. This is the foundation on which we build practical, magical operations. Now, to bring this into a practical and repeatable practice, we turn to one of Israel, Regardie's most fundamental rituals, the middle pillar ritual. Traditionally, this ritual is a complex, multi-layered operation used to balance and energize the Sephiroth, the energy centers, aligned along the tree of life. For our purposes, I will simplify it, focusing on the core elements that engage your body, breath, and tactile awareness. This core practice is designed to give you a direct, embodied experience of manipulating your energy field, something you can do anytime, anywhere, no special tools required. Before you begin, find a quiet space where you can either stand or sit comfortably with your spine straight and your feet grounded firmly on the floor. The ritual begins with grounding. Feel the connection of your feet to the earth beneath you. Imagine roots extending from your soles deep into the soil, anchoring you securely. This connection is your energetic foundation, the root pillar supporting all else. It stabilizes your energy field and prepares you to work with higher centers. Rest your hands comfortably in your lap or by your sides, relaxed but alert. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or soften your gaze. Take a deep breath, inhaling through your nose fully, allowing your belly to expand, your ribs to widen, and your lungs to fill. Hold this breath for a beat, then exhale smoothly through your mouth, releasing tension and clearing your mind. Repeat this slow, deep breathing cycle 3 times. With each breath, feel yourself settling deeper into presence, into your body, into your energy field. Begin visualizing a brilliant white sphere of radiant light just above your head. This is your crown center, the gateway to higher consciousness, connection, and divine inspiration. As you inhale, draw this light down through the crown of your head, feeling it flow slowly down your spine. Visualize it cleansing, energizing, and aligning every energetic center it passes. As you exhale, imagine this light expanding outward from your body, creating a luminous, protective sphere around you. This sphere acts as your energetic shield and boundary. Bring your hands into a mudra, a gentle hand position that feels natural and grounding. For example, touch the tips of your index finger and thumb lightly together, or keep your palms slightly cupped, facing each other about a foot apart. The tactile sensation grounds your attention and signals to your nervous system that this is sacred and focus work. Mudras engage the body's sensory system, anchoring your awareness to the present moment and deepening your connection to your energy. Now, direct your attention to your throat center, located in your throat or neck area. Visualize a warm, glowing, golden sphere here. This is the center of communication, expression, and clarity. As you inhale, draw energy from the earth up through your feet and spine into this sphere. Feel it radiate warmth and light. As you exhale, release any blockages or stagnant thoughts clouding your communication. Keep your shoulders relaxed but open, chest lifted gently, creating space for clear expression. Feel subtle sensations, the soft pressure of your tongue, the natural expansion of your chest, the rhythm of your breath flowing through your throat. Next, move your awareness to your heart center, the seat of emotional connection and compassion, located in the center of your chest. Visualize a glowing green or rose-colored sphere. With each inhale, draw nurturing energy into your heart. With each exhale, send love and compassion outward. You may place a hand lightly on your chest, feeling the steady beat of your heart as a rhythmic anchor. This gesture connects your physical sensations with the energetic reality of love, grounding and opening your field simultaneously. Continue to breathe smoothly and deeply, feeling your body become a living map of flowing energy. The light travels down your spine, energizing and harmonizing each center. Your hands remain engaged in mudras or relaxed, offering tactile feedback that strengthens your awareness. If your mind drifts, gently bring it back to the physical sensations of breath, posture, and touch. These sensations are your anchor points. They keep you rooted in the present moment while you manipulate subtle energies. Now draw your attention to your solar plexus, located just above your navel. Visualize a radiant, golden, yellow sphere glowing with warmth and power. This center governs your will, personal strength, and confidence. As you inhale, draw energy into this sphere, feeling it grow stronger and more vibrant. As you exhale, release doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs. Allow yourself to stand tall in your power. Finally, direct your awareness to the root center, located at the base of your spine or perineum. See a deep red sphere glowing with grounding, stability, and primal vitality. Imagine roots from this center burrowing deep into the earth, anchoring you firmly. Visualize energy rising from this root through your spine, uniting all your centers into a single column of flowing light. Feel balance, harmony, and strength flowing through this column. Hold this visualization and breath pattern for several full cycles. Notice how your body feels more aligned, energized, calm, and present. This is the field responding to form, the shape of your body, the rhythm of your breath, the touch of your hands. All these physical forms influence the energetic currents that flow within and around you. When you feel ready, slowly open your eyes and return fully to your surroundings. Notice the subtle shifts in your energetic presence, the steadiness in your posture, the clarity in your mind, the warmth in your heart. This simple, embodied ritual is a powerful daily tool to center, balance, and energize your field. Over time, practicing this middle pillar ritual builds nervous system resilience and energetic coherence. It trains your body to hold form, even when external chaos threatens to fragment your attention. It integrates mind, body, and spirit into a unified whole. You will find your energy more stable, your emotions more balanced, and your focus sharper. This embodied awareness becomes your foundation for all other magical work. Remember, the field responds to form. You are the form. Your body, breath, and movement are your primary tools for shaping the invisible. No elaborate tools or arcane knowledge required, only your own presence and intention. So start now. Stand tall, breathe deeply, feel your hands become the form that commands your energy field. But remember, the body is only one part of the equation. The mind plays an equally vital role, far beyond just thoughts or memories. It acts like a wand, focusing your intent and shaping the unseen currents around you through symbols, repetition, and unwavering attention. Your mental energy carves patterns into reality itself, weaving your inner world into the fabric of the outer. Let's start by validating something fundamental. You've probably experienced this already, even if you didn't realize it. Have you ever found yourself humming a tune or repeating a phrase to calm your nerves? Maybe you've clung to a symbol like a pendant, a word, or a gesture that somehow gave you strength or comfort. That is the mind working as a wand. This is why mantras work. This is why symbols haunt you, because they tap into that invisible energetic layer, influencing your vibration and, by extension, your reality. When you focus your intent on a specific thought or symbol, something remarkable happens. Your brain's neural pathways fire in a pattern. But more than that, your entire subtle energy system responds. Your nervous system, the electromagnetic field around your body, even the tiny bioelectric pulses within cells begin to align with that intention. This isn't just mental, it's energetic embodiment. Your thought sends a ripple through your energy field, like a stone dropped into a still pond, shaping patterns far beyond what the eye can see. Israel Regardie, in his profound teachings, recognized this power of focused mind. He understood that symbols and repetition were not arbitrary or mystical fluff. They were keys, codes that unlock specific frequencies within your consciousness. When you repeat a mantra, for example, you are not simply saying words. You are tuning your entire being to a particular vibration. Each repetition reinforces the pattern, strengthening it until it becomes a lived experience, an energetic truth embedded in your field. Think about why symbols carry such weight across cultures and time. The cross, the pentagram, the spiral, the triangle, these shapes recur in sacred spaces, rituals, and personal talismans. They are not just decorations or superstitions. They are concentrated packets of energetic meaning. When you see or hold a symbol, your mind and energy field recognize it on a deeper level, sometimes bypassing conscious thought altogether. That recognition triggers shifts within you, opening pathways or closing old loops. Repetition magnifies this effect. It's why mantras or chants in spiritual traditions can feel hypnotic, calming, or empowering. When repeated, the sound waves and the meaning behind the words create a resonance that settles the nervous system and molds your energy. Over time, this repetition rewires not just your mind, but the subtle architecture of your inner world. It's the difference between a passing thought and a cultivated state of being. This rewiring is a form of mental magic, but it's also deeply practical. Imagine your mind like a wand that sends beams of energetic commands into the astral field, the invisible web that connects everything. Each focused thought, each repeated phrase, each symbol you hold or imagine becomes a stroke of that wand. It directs energy, reshapes patterns, and shifts possibilities. Your mind, in this sense, is a tool of energetic craftsmanship. Yet, this power comes with responsibility and awareness, because your mental wand is always active. Even when you're unaware, random thoughts, unconscious beliefs, and emotional attachments send signals into your field constantly. That's why unchecked negativity or obsessive thinking can feel like a storm brewing inside, a chaotic tangle of energy disrupting your coherence. The mind doesn't just reflect reality, it participates in creating it, for better or worse. So learning to wield your mind as a wand means cultivating focus, clarity, and intentionality. It means recognizing that what you feed your mind, words, images, symbols, matters. When you intentionally select empowering mantras or hold sacred symbols with reverence, you become the conscious architect of your inner and outer worlds. This is a practice of energetic sovereignty. Let's break down how this actually looks in practice. Start with focused intent. This is not wishful thinking or vague hope. It's a clear, deliberate setting of your mental compass. When you say, "I intend to cultivate peace," your mind and energy field receive that instruction. But to make it effective, this intent must be supported by repetition and symbolic reinforcement. That might mean repeating a mantra like, "I am calm and grounded," during meditation, or carrying a symbol that represents peace and balance. The repetition ingrains the intent deeper, transforming it from an intellectual concept into a felt reality. The symbol acts like an anchor, reminding your mind and body of that intention throughout the day. Over time, these layers build a coherent, energetic state that changes your experience of the world around you. There's also a ritualistic quality to this mental wand work. Rituals aren't just external ceremonies. They include internal mental practices, visualizations, affirmations, breath work. These create a sensory-rich environment where your mind can cast its energetic spells more effectively. The more vivid and embodied your focus, the stronger your influence over your energy field. And here's a crucial insight. The mental wand works best when it's not rigid or forced. It's most powerful when it flows naturally, supported by emotional resonance. That's why symbols or mantras that haunt you have special significance. Your unconscious mind recognizes their potency, even if your conscious mind hasn't yet caught up. Trusting these resonances can guide you to the right tools and practices for your unique energetic needs. This is why some people find it easier to connect with energy through art, music, or movement. They are tapping into symbols and repetition in dynamic forms. Your mental wand doesn't have to be verbal or visual. It can be felt in rhythms, colors, or shapes that resonate deeply. Furthermore, the mind's ability to shape energy is enhanced by the emotional charge behind thoughts and symbols. When intention is combined with genuine feeling, be it love, courage, or even focused determination, the energetic impact multiplies. This emotional dimension acts like a fuel, amplifying the reach and potency of your mental wand. Without feeling, your wand's strokes can feel faint or disjointed. With feeling, they become vibrant and transformative. Ultimately, understanding your mind as a wand invites you to step into your creative power. It's an invitation to stop being a passive recipient of life's energies and start actively shaping your field. By cultivating focused intent, engaging with symbols, and using repetition, you build a bridge between your inner world and the outer reality you experience. Remember, this is not about believing in magic or supernatural powers. It's about recognizing that energy is responsive and your mind is a catalyst. Your thoughts, symbols, and repeated actions are tools of transformation in the invisible realms where reality is born. As you practice this, you might notice subtle shifts, moments where your intentions seem to ripple outward and manifest in unexpected ways. You may feel more grounded, more aligned, more able to navigate chaos with grace. These are signs that your mental wand is working, that you are weaving your energetic tapestry with skill and care. The journey of mastering your mind as a wand is ongoing. It requires patience, compassion for yourself, and a willingness to observe your thoughts without judgment. It calls for curiosity about how symbols and mantras affect your mood and energy, and it invites you to experiment. Try different words, images, and rhythms until you find what resonates. In that process, you become both magician and scientist, artist and engineer of your own subtle energy system. You learn to read the language of symbols and the power of repetition, turning abstract thoughts into tangible shifts. Your mind no longer wanders aimlessly, but becomes a focused instrument, directing energy with precision and intention. And so, your mental wand is always in your hand, ready to be wielded consciously or unconsciously. The question is, will you choose to direct its power? Will you claim the ability to shape your energy and, through it, your experience of reality? This chapter is your invitation to start that journey, to see your mind not as a passive container, but as an active wand, to understand that each thought is a stroke, each symbol a spark, each repetition a wave of energy, and to recognize that within this simple truth lies the potential to transform not only your inner world, but the very fabric of your existence. Yet, despite its profound impact, this knowledge remains hidden, whispered only in secret circles. It's no accident. There's a reason why the understanding of energy manipulation isn't openly taught in schools, spiritual institutions, or mainstream culture. It's not because it's too complex or too mystical or reserved only for an elite few. The real reason runs deeper. It's about control, about power, about preserving systems that benefit from keeping people disconnected from their own innate energy sovereignty. Institutions, whether religious, political, or social, have long feared the rise of individuals who can stand firm in their own energetic field, undisturbed by external forces or collective fears. Think about it. When you learn to move energy, when you cultivate your ability to shape your own inner and outer energetic landscape, you step into a space of autonomy that threatens the status quo. You no longer rely on external authorities for validation, protection, or permission. You become, in a very real sense, unshakable. You become a living, breathing node of power that can resist manipulation, propaganda, and fear-based control. This is why this knowledge is so often suppressed, ignored, or buried under layers of dogma and distraction. At the heart of this silence is a profound truth. A person who can move energy cannot be moved by fear. Fear, after all, is a form of energetic manipulation. It creates a ripple in your field, triggering automatic survival responses that keep you reactive and vulnerable. But when you understand how to stabilize your energy, how to ground your breath, align your posture, and direct your intent, you build a resilience that fear cannot penetrate. You become the calm in the storm, the center that remains unmoved even when the world around you erupts. This is the power that institutions fear, the power of self-mastery. It is not a threat in the sense of violence or aggression, but in the sense of liberation, because a liberated individual questions the narratives handed down by those in power. They see through illusions and refuse to participate in systems designed to fragment and distract. This is why so many ancient teachings were encoded in metaphor and ritual, because the true knowledge had to be protected from those who might misuse or suppress it. Yet, despite these barriers, the urge to reclaim this power pulses in many hearts today. You may have felt it yourself, the nagging sense that something essential is missing from what you've been taught about yourself and the world. The feeling that your body, mind, and spirit are more than the sum of parts, that there is an unseen current beneath everyday experience that can be harnessed and shaped. This feeling is your own energy field whispering to you. It is the call to step beyond fear and into the field of sovereignty, to learn not just to survive, but to thrive by mastering your own energy. Because once you realize you can influence your energetic state, you also realize that you don't need permission from anyone to do so. The power is already within you, waiting for recognition and practice. The suppression of energetic knowledge serves to keep people small, disempowered, and reactive. It keeps the collective locked into cycles of fear, confusion, and control. But the irony is that the tools to break free, breath, movement, focused thought, ritual, have always been accessible. They have always been waiting for you to pick them up and use them as keys to unlock your own potential. This is why the journey to reclaim your energetic sovereignty is often met with resistance, not just externally, but internally as well. Fear of the unknown, doubts seeded by cultural conditioning, and the weight of inherited beliefs all act as barriers. But these are precisely the obstacles that must be faced and transformed. Because once you step through that door, you begin to understand that energy is not some abstract concept reserved for mystics. It is the language your body speaks every moment. It is the force that moves through your thoughts, your emotions, your breath. Standing in your field means showing up fully for yourself. It means learning how to shift your energy from reaction to response, from chaos to coherence. It means discovering that the power to remain unmoved is not about building walls or becoming numb, but about cultivating presence. Presence that anchors you in your truth, regardless of what storms rage outside. The deeper you dive, the more you see that this mastery is a form of rebellion, not a loud or violent one, but a quiet, steadfast defiance against the forces that seek to divide and diminish. It is rebellion through peace, resistance through awareness, strength through alignment. And here's the paradox. The more you learn to move your own energy, the less you feel the need to control others or the external world. Your energy becomes a compass, guiding you away from conflict and toward harmony. The energy of fear loses its grip, replaced by a grounded confidence born from knowing your own power. This is why the knowledge is so threatening to those who thrive on fear and division. It dismantles their foundation. You may have noticed the world around you is saturated with distractions, noise, and endless information designed to keep you scattered. This is no accident. Fragmentation of attention is fragmentation of energy. When your energy is scattered, your power is diluted. Institutions rely on this. They rely on the busyness, the overwhelm, the emotional roller coasters that keep your field unsettled. It is much easier to influence someone whose energy is fragmented than someone who is centered and coherent. But here's the good news. The path to coherence is available to everyone. It doesn't require special gifts, secret knowledge, or exclusive memberships. It only requires willingness to observe, to practice, to reclaim your attention and intention. Every breath you take is a chance to return to your center. Every mindful movement, a chance to ground your field. Every focused thought, an opportunity to shape your reality. The culture that shrouds energetic knowledge in secrecy also thrives on fear-based narratives. Fear of the unknown, fear of loss, fear of standing apart. But this fear itself is a weapon wielded to keep you small, hesitant, unsure. When you learn to recognize fear as an energetic signal, an invitation to turn inward and regain control, you begin to reclaim your power piece by piece. You realize fear is not your enemy. It is simply a messenger that your boundaries are being tested. Standing firm in your energetic field means you no longer need to react to fear-driven manipulation. You observe it, acknowledge it, and gently redirect your energy back to balance. This act of conscious choice weakens the hold fear has on your life. It dissolves the layers of anxiety, doubt, and fragmentation that were once accepted as normal. In this way, mastery of your energy is also mastery over your mental and emotional landscape. It is a holistic approach that transcends simple rituals or spells. It's a lifestyle of awareness, presence, and intentionality. It's a reclamation of the sacred power within your own body and mind. So, why don't they teach you this? Because true empowerment threatens old power structures. Because energy sovereignty disrupts control. Because when you stand in your own field, calm, clear, and unshakable, you become a force that cannot be easily dominated or silenced. Yet, the knowledge is awakening. It is rising beneath the surface of mainstream culture, whispered among seekers and practiced in quiet corners of the world. It calls to those ready to reclaim their sovereignty. It invites you to step out of the shadows of fear and into the light of your own power. You are part of this awakening. You are learning what many have forgotten or were never taught. This path requires courage, persistence, and above all, trust in yourself. Trust that you are capable of moving your energy. Trust that you are worthy of freedom from fear. Trust that you can be the unmovable presence in a world of chaos. The knowledge may be hidden, but it is not lost. It is alive in your breath, your body, your mind. It waits for you to claim it, and once you do, you will never be the same. You will become a beacon of calm, strength, and clarity in a fractured world, because a person who can move energy cannot be moved by fear. This is the truth they do not want you to know, and it is the truth you are beginning to live. It's already unfolding within you. Every breath, every posture, every focused thought and ritual isn't just practice. It's a transformation. Energy work isn't about control alone. It's about becoming, moving beyond manipulation. You begin to embody the field itself. As Israel Regardie taught, the highest mastery isn't dominion over energy, it's union with it, becoming the very pulse of the field. This is the pinnacle of energetic mastery, to dissolve the boundary between the self and the energy that surrounds and flows through you, to no longer see yourself as a separate agent trying to bend energy to your will, but as a living expression of energy itself, a dynamic, flowing, radiant field of life. This is a subtle shift in consciousness that changes everything. It moves you from the posture of controller to that of flow, from effort to surrender, from separation to unity. Imagine for a moment the way a river moves. The river does not resist its course. It does not fight the banks or struggle against the current. Instead, it becomes the current. It is the flow itself, shaping and being shaped by the landscape it moves through. It carries power, not through brute force, but through harmony, through becoming one with the water, the rocks, the earth, and the air. This is the essence of becoming the field. Becoming the field means recognizing that the energy you once thought was outside, something to be captured or controlled, is actually you. Your breath, your pulse, your thoughts, your presence, all are waves rippling through the same vast ocean of life force. When you align with this, you awaken to a reality where control gives way to communion and power emerges not from domination, but from deep connection. This union is not passive. It requires courage, patience, and vulnerability. It asks you to release the ego's need to command and to instead trust the intelligence of the field itself. This field is not chaotic or random. It is a living system, self-organizing, responsive, and infinitely wise. To become the field is to become a conscious participant in this dance of energy. There is an ancient teaching that likens this state to becoming a mirror of the universe. Like a still lake reflecting the sky, you become a clear surface where the movements of the cosmos play out. The ripples on the surface are your thoughts and feelings, but beneath them lies a profound stillness, vast, silent, and whole. This stillness is the union point, the place where separation dissolves. In practice, becoming the field involves integrating everything you have learned so far. The breath that grounds you, the posture that aligns your body, the focus of your mind, the movement of your hands. All these elements coalesce into a single flowing presence. It is no longer about doing, but about being. The body becomes more than a vessel. It becomes a living conduit of energy. You feel the subtle currents coursing through your muscles, bones, and skin, the pulsing rhythms of life itself. Awareness expands beyond the edges of your skin, reaching into the space around you, sensing the energetic field of the room, the people, the earth beneath your feet. This expansion of awareness is not something to chase or force. It unfolds naturally when the mind quiets, when the breath slows, and when you let go of resistance. It is the gentle flowering of presence, deep, wide, and open. Emotionally, this union brings a profound sense of peace. You are no longer fragmented by the stresses of daily life or the fluctuations of mood. Instead, you rest in the steady current of your own being. This is a peace that carries you through storms without losing your center. A peace that radiates outward, touching those around you with calm and clarity. Imagine sitting quietly in a forest at dawn. The world is waking slowly. You hear the gentle rustle of leaves, the soft song of birds. The air is cool and fresh. You breathe deeply, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath you, the rhythm of your own heart. In this moment, you are not separate from the forest. You are the forest. Your breath is the wind weaving through the trees. Your thoughts are the murmuring stream nearby. You are the field itself, alive and whole. This image holds the essence of becoming the field, an intimate connection to all that is and a surrender to the flow of life. It is an invitation to move beyond the limitations of the ego mind and into the expansive reality of the living present. Spiritually, This union opens the door to experiences that transcend ordinary perception. Time may seem to slow or dissolve entirely. Boundaries between self and other fade. You may feel waves of bliss, profound gratitude, or a deep sense of belonging to something greater than yourself. These experiences are not goals to chase, but natural unfoldings of the field becoming conscious of itself through you. Yet, even in these elevated states, the core remains simple. Presence, being fully here, fully now, without distraction or judgment. This is the ground from which true power springs, the power to heal, to create, to connect, and ultimately to transform. Regardie's teaching on union reminds us that the true magician is not the one who bends the world to their will through force, but the one who flows with the pulse of existence, becoming a living channel of its endless mystery. This path requires humility as much as courage, a willingness to dissolve old identities and open to the unknown. In practical terms, becoming the field can be approached through meditation, breathwork, movement, or ritual. It invites you to explore stillness, not as absence, but as fullness, to cultivate a state where your body, mind, and spirit resonate as one unified field of energy. One simple yet profound practice is to sit in quiet awareness, focusing on the subtle sensations of the breath as it moves through the body. Notice how each inhale and exhale connects you to the larger rhythm of life. Allow your awareness to extend beyond your physical form, sensing the energetic space around you. When distractions arise, gently return your focus to the breath and the expanding field. Over time, this practice softens the boundaries between self and environment. You begin to sense the interconnectedness of all things, the way energy flows between you and the world. This is the doorway to becoming the field itself. The more you cultivate this awareness, the more you find yourself less entangled in struggle and more aligned with flow. Challenges still arise, but they no longer throw you off balance. Instead, you meet them with equanimity, trusting in the intelligence of the field to guide your responses. Emotionally, you may notice a deepening of compassion, not only for others, but also for yourself. You understand that the patterns of resistance and control are part of the human condition, but they do not define your true nature. This insight frees you to embrace vulnerability and authenticity as sources of strength rather than weakness. The union with the field is also a return to wholeness. It is a reclaiming of the fragmented part of yourself, the fears, the desires, the wounds, and integrating them into a coherent whole. This integration brings healing on many levels, dissolving old wounds and opening space for new growth. In the silence of union, you discover that power is not about pushing against the world, but about aligning with its pulse. It is about becoming a conduit for life's energy, allowing it to flow freely through you and out into the world. This flow carries creativity, healing, and transformation. At its core, becoming the field itself is a sacred invitation to live from your deepest truth, to embody the unity of all things, and to radiate that unity in every thought, word, and action. It is a call to live not as a fragmented self, but as a vibrant expression of the vast energetic web that connects all life. As you walk this path, remember that union is not a fixed destination, but a living process. It unfolds in moments of stillness and movement, in breath and silence, in the interplay of presence and flow. It is both a mystery to be revered and a reality to be lived. There will be days when the boundary between self and field feels as thin as a whisper, and others when the ego clamors loudly, demanding control. Both are part of the dance. What matters is your willingness to return again and again to the flow, to surrender into the greater field, and remember who you truly are. In the final stillness of this chapter, allow yourself to rest in the image of becoming the field. Feel the pulse of life moving through you, carrying you beyond control and into communion. Sense the vastness within and around you, the seamless flow of energy that connects you to all that is here in this quiet union. There is no separation, no struggle, only the radiant, unfolding presence of being. You are not outside the field, you are the field itself. This is the highest goal. This is the true mastery. This is the heart of Regardie's teaching and the living truth waiting for you to embrace. And now something shifts, an almost imperceptible silence filling the space around you, the subtle charge just behind your breath, a pulse that wasn't there before but insists on being noticed. It isn't an ending, not yet. It's a quiet moment suspended between breath and thought, presence and absence. The field listens, always, even when you're not sure you want it to. So here you are, caught in that pause, caught in the watching quiet. What happens next? Step forward, step back, or stay still in the space where everything waits and nothing is certain. Whatever unfolds, the field moves with you, whether you realize it or not.